Feeling kind of left out at work on Monday morning? Check out The Barf, breaking news, acquisitions, research, and funding. It's a look back at the week that was so you can prepare for the week that is. Subscribe on your favorite podcast app.
Welcome to PeopleTech, the podcast of WorkforceAI.news. I'm Mark Pfeffer. Today, I chat with Nagaraj Nadendla, Senior Vice President of Product Development at Oracle. We're going to talk about some features that were recently added to Oracle Fusion Cloud HCM, the thinking behind them, and AI's role in HR tech in general. All on this edition of PeopleTech. Hi Nagaraj, welcome. Now, Oracle recently added a bunch of capabilities to Oracle Fusion Cloud HCM, and I'm curious about what was the thinking behind it? What were these meant to do?
So if the references to the two announcements that we made to the market, these are critical capabilities that we worked on and making available to the market. One is what we're calling activity centers. And the activity centers are intended to enhance productivity, deliver a much more consumer-oriented experience for various roles within that interact with Cloud HCM, in particular. Recruiting activity center for people who live in the recruiting function within any organization. Employee activity center, as an employee, I interact with Cloud HCM and for a variety of needs. Likewise, managers that manage a team. They're monitoring, interacting, they're managing performance, they're ensuring that their team is going through learning and development activities. So, it's a single location for them to manage the team. And similar to recruiting activity center for payroll, payroll specialists are in the product, in the experience on an ongoing basis daily. So making them productive, delivering the kind of experiences the activities they undertake on a regular basis daily to help them with those. That's the intent of the activity centers. These functions are generally available. This is to bring it all together to make them much more productive. So that's the first announcement. The second one is we have invested in candidate experiences, as part of our recruiting set of functionality that we deliver to market. That's part of Cloud HCM. One of the big investments, and we have a plethora of partnerships. We manage a very broad set of partnerships across different categories like background checks, assessments, work opportunity, tax credits, and others. This is a new category that we opened up, which is what we're calling direct apply, where candidates, if they're in LinkedIn or Indeed or, and these are well-known names across the globe, but they're also regional names like Bait in the Middle East and for healthcare, Vivian. So if candidates are on those platforms and, they're interacting, they're browsing opportunities, they're engaged, for various reasons, if they see an opportunity that gets pushed to them or referred to them, they can directly apply from that experience so that they don't need to navigate to the career sites, go through the whole process. Customers can quickly capture that information. So it allows them to build, broader talent pool that expands the addressable talent for customers. And it's a great experience for candidates. So those are the two announcements that we made broadly.
Now, when I was reading the announcements, I kept thinking about journeys, which you introduced a few years ago. They seem to be following a similar path of helping shepherd users down the path that they need to go. Do I have that right? I mean, is that something you're looking at doing across the platform?
Absolutely. Journeys is, it's a way to guide an end user to a variety of activities. It could be a journey that launches an employee to, it could be a pre-boarding journey to take a candidate and convert them to an employee. There's a set of things, activities that they undertake. Likewise, it could be a learning and development journey. So for distinct users, allowing them to navigate and, have an easier path, much easier way to understand the set of things they need to do. So from that perspective, it's absolutely complementary. As an employee, what do I need to act on a regular basis? Information that I typically seek. As a team manager, what are the things I need to be monitoring and, things I need to undertake? And of course, the specialist roles, recruiters and payroll specialists. So it is along those lines. Absolutely.
How does this fit? And when I say this, I mean the Fusion Cloud HCM moves. Excuse me. How do these fit with Oracle broadly?
As a general rule of thumb, if you think about some of the investments, Mark, I hope you've heard of the investments we're making across FA, not just Cloud HCM, but across Fusion applications from a user experience perspective. There's a Redwood design system that we've invested in over the last few years. Functionalities are being made available, and all the activity centers, by the way, are part of that Redwood design system to enhance productivity and to improve the experiences for various users. So broadly, it fits into that. There's also aspects of automation, AI, and the other elements that are being woven into this, both classic and now generative AI capabilities.
So I wanted to step back and ask you about AI in general. But thinking about AI, what do you think it's bringing to HR technology right now? I mean, is it being oversold, or are there really new capabilities coming in?
It is reshaping the experiences for various users and how things get done in many different ways. It's real. It's happening as we speak. It's in the consumer world. When you go to Google and you write an email, or even now in the corporate world, it's part of whether it's Microsoft or the other technologies that you use, Office 365, suggestions, assisted authoring. These capabilities are now part of the day-to-day experiences we have. So if you think about AI, both classic and generative, these are some of the classic capabilities are already part of the rhythm with which we work today, and generative is enhancing the experience even further. So whether it's prediction, suggestions, assisted authoring, summarization, these are all capabilities users experience today that they're getting better and better with the advent of generative AI and LLMs.
And were these capabilities being requested by customers, or did you see the capabilities when you saw the technology and decided to build products around that? In other words, are these new capabilities based on AI, are they customer driven or technology driven?
If you like swiping, then head over to Substack and search up Work Defined, WRK Defined, and subscribe to the weekly newsletter.
Hi, I'm Stephen Rothberg.
And I'm Jeanette Leeds.
And together, we're the co-hosts of the High Volume Hiring Podcast.
Are you involved in hiring dozens or even hundreds of employees a year? If so, you know that the typical sourcing tools, tactics, and strategies, they just don't scale.
Yeah. Our bi-weekly podcast features news, tips, case studies, and interviews with the world's leading experts about the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to high volume hiring.
Make sure to subscribe today.
I think it's a combination of both. If you think about enterprise automation, take a step back, they were rules-driven automation initially. These were codified rules. If you think about, I'll use a recruiting example. I'll use as an example something that happens in recruiting. You can apply rules to, you're taking in thousands of applications. You can apply rules where, candidates can be scored, based on pre-screening questions or other types of questions. And if, customers historically have used some codified rules that each organization has to determine who they want to proceed with or who they don't want to proceed ahead with to the next stage, maybe a phone call, maybe an interview, etc. it started with that, and that's applies in workflow as well, right? Various workflows. Then moved to classic AI, where certain models were created, handcrafted, such as your a prediction that says if you create a rec, how much time does it take, or predictive models about attrition and other things. These were based on algorithms. Models were created and they were applied. Now with LLMs, assisted authoring. So the natural evolution, there are in our customer base, and in any, if you take a step back and look at the spectrum, there's always leading organizations, thinkers at leading organizations that, ideate with us. But there's also technology that enables us to do things. For example, the bots, the bots that enabled interactions till recently, they had to be codified. There was learning that was introduced into the bots. But with LLMs, that goes away. It becomes a lot more easier interaction because the LLMs understand the human interactions much easier, right? So some of it is technology, some of it is definitely customer driven. But from our perspective, we're always looking at how do we continue to evolve and deliver a better experience for the end users that interact with the Cloud HCM and FA in general.
So then you get to the cost of all of this. I mean, this is very heavy duty development that you're talking about here. So Microsoft treats a lot of its AI products as premiums, in Office 365, for example. How does Oracle view it? Are these changes, are they premium changes, or are they just making the underlying system better?
They're making the underlying system better. In a nutshell, that's how we view this.
What do you think of, it strikes me that if we were back in like the 80s or 90s, in the PC era, and Dell was out there saying, buy our computers, it runs on MS-DOS or has MS-DOS. That's kind of what we're doing today with AI, isn't it? We're sort of talking about an underlying system, but talking about it as a product, or am I being too simplistic?
Maybe perhaps a little bit of both. I think, if you again take a step back, the rules-based automation that was introduced, it got into our DNA as end users, and nobody talks about that anymore. I think, because it's top of mind more recently with LLMs being introduced and, generative AI and classic AI to a certain extent to solve discrete problems. I think it's top of mind now, but, fast forward 3 to 5 years when we have another conversation, Mark, I think it'll be, it's part of the experience and, people don't think twice about it. So it's topical right now just because it's top of mind for all of us.
Right. And what are your customers saying? What's the feedback that you're getting?
Very positive. And the feedback, the best way to solicit, the best, I guess, indicator of feedback, and we have not only direct interactions with customers like we are doing today, but as we make these feature functionalities available to customers organically, they're turning it on, they're evaluating, they're rolling down the feature sets into production. So to me, that's a great indicator of adoption. And this is with very, very little interaction with us, very little, active engagement with them. So customers are looking for, hey, when is Oracle making these available? And they're actively enabling and taking advantage of the capabilities we're delivering.
Well, thank you very much. It was great to talk with you. I really appreciate, your views, and I hope you'll come back on so we can talk some more.
Absolutely. Look forward to having a follow-on conversation, as technology, AI technologies get deployed by customers. We're amazed at how customers find creative ways in leveraging the capabilities we deliver. So as more and more of that happens, happy to come back and share some of the success stories.
Great. I look forward to it. Thank you. My guest today has been Nagaraj Nadendla, Senior Vice President of Product Development at Oracle. And this has been PeopleTech, the podcast of WorkforceAI.news. We're also a part of the WorkDefined Podcast Network. Find them at www.wrkdefined.com. And to keep up with AI technology in HR, subscribe to Workforce AI today. We're the most trusted source of news in the HR tech industry. Find us at www.workforceai.news. I'm Mark Pfeffer.
I get it. The podcast just isn't enough. That's all right. Head over to your favorite social app, search up Work Defined, WRK Defined, and connect with us.